Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Peace and Neutrality. I'm your host, Arvelle L. Today on episode 6, we're going to be talking about self-reflection, okay? And the reason for that is because I have a video that I created on YouTube, and I'm going to go through that video. So let's go into the breakdown here.
When I say I speak to myself in the first person. It is a common and natural way to self-reflect.
I talk about I, right? I meaning that I talk to myself in the first person. The reason for that is to self-reflect. I would look in the mirror and I would self-reflect on myself, meaning that I would ask myself, why am I upset? Why do I feel down? Why is it when somebody told me this thing the other day, I got defensive? And so what you do, you go down that rabbit hole of the why. Why did I get defensive? Oh, when that person said this. Okay, why did I get defensive because he said that? Well, because that triggered something in me. That was a condition that I grew up with that potentially could have been given to me by a friend, my parents, whatever the case may be. A lot of times we grow up with conditions and we don't realize those conditions are there and we're responding to them because we're not being aware of them. We're not setting an alert saying, oh, hey, you know what? There's something going on. We're not self-assessing and reflecting because we're not analyzing ourselves like we analyze everybody else. A lot of times we always see everything else. People are judging all these other things. Stop judging people and start self-assessing, because once we self-assess, then we can be able to develop ourselves and to start creating things. I would go to the mirror and I would do declarations as well with these self-assessments. And I would tell myself what I'm going to do and how I'm going to get there. Okay. I would say a quote I used to say is, if I don't change, nothing else will. It's a very general quote. It allowed me to continue putting into my mind that if I don't make this happen, no one else will do this for me. I need to do the work myself. I need to develop my mindset of where I want to be. So I would start declaring. Saying things. Every time I go somewhere, I want to become a light. And then I would ask myself the question, how can I become a light? And it always came back to develop who you are. Develop your character. Understand the skills that need to be developed to be able to start seeing and assessing. Use my senses. Allow those senses to be able to develop that person that wants to become a light for people. What does that light look like? Then I had to go down and dig deep into my purpose. What does that purpose look like? And once I found my purpose to develop myself to become better, I knew that there was a logical system that I had to create to be able to get from A to B to create success. Because if I did an emotional response to everything that I created logic to, then I'm probably not going to get there. Because as soon as somebody says something that, hey man, you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this. Hey, you know what, man, this is too much of a risk, right? You're going to start listening to a lot of outside sources and get emotional about it. So what I learned to do is be able to shut off the emotion, get straight to the logic so that I can get from A to B. Once you create that, you're going to start creating experiences. And once you create those experiences, then you're going to be able to understand when to turn on the emotion, when to stop. It's like you being a train getting to A to B. You're not going to stop in between there to give somebody else a ride until you get to a point to where you build up who you are and your confidence. And then you'll say, you know what? Hey, you know what? There's people that need a ride. I need to add the emotional aspect up to it because I need to help them, because I'm in a place to help. Okay. A lot of times we're not in the place to help and we want to help, but sometimes we're handicapping people. If I had someone there every time I needed help, then I would not have experienced some of the things that I would have needed to experience to get to where I am today. Let's keep going.
It is a direct and personal way to connect to my thoughts and feelings.
It is a personal way to be able to connect to your personal thoughts and your feelings. It is how you're going to be able to get into yourself. Ask those hard questions. Look in the mirror and say, what's going on? Why am I angry? Why am I upset? I'm going to declare that I'm going to get to the bottom of this condition. Okay, whether that condition came from my parents, whether it came from being bullied when I was young, or it may have came from some type of trauma, whatever the case may be, I need to overcome this, and we need to declare it. I know you're going to get it and understand it because you're intelligent to get this. And one thing I want to mention too, everything has its own frequency. And what I mean by that, there are phases to every level of consciousness. And what I mean by that, there is somewhat what I call a dimensional level, meaning that you start from here, you learn, you gain experience, you gain a knowledge, understanding, so that you have the wisdom to make the right choices to be able to start moving to the next level. Once you get to that new frequency, that new phase, that level, you're going to start seeing things differently. That's why I say grab a copy of my book, because my book, at every phase, when you read it over and over again, you're going to be able to take that same thing you read and put it in a different type of context and perceive it differently, because now you're on a different level. You're on a different phase. Okay. You're in another dimension. You're in another frequency. Doesn't matter if you're at your bottom or if you're at your height making millions of dollars. Read this book at each level, because there's going to be something in there that resonates with you, and you're going to see it differently because now you've expanded your mind, right, to higher heights, more open to new things. Let's keep going.
Creating solutions to motivate myself while self-evaluating, allowing me to self-correct with logic.
All right, so this is really cool, and I talked about this earlier. Logic. Why is logic so important? The logic of things is amazing, okay? Imagine if you had a factory where you had these robots developing cars. They had the logic. Now, within that logic, imagine if you put an emotional freedom in there when they were creating cars. These arms would be like, man, I'm getting tired, man. So, you know, I'm going to cut corners on putting this bolt in this car. Then you buy the car and you're riding down the street and then all four of the tires fall off. That's why I say logic is powerful, because when you create a logical system that is devoid of emotion, then you're creating a complete system, because you're going to make sure that every single car goes through there, make sure it gets through the inspections, all the safety checks, all the things that will cause risk and harm to the person that will be buying it. That logic is built because it has the safety and everything built into it. And so every car that comes out is more than likely going to be the same. Maybe there's going to be little things that are kind of different a little bit, right? Just a little bit, just because of the elements of the world. But they're going to be so small to where you probably have to get a microscope to see it. In the human eye, everything is exactly the same. The cars look exactly the same. The only thing different is the paint color. So, but that's why I say a logical process, a logical system in your way of developing your character, your lifestyle, your diet, whatever the case may be, you have to have something that is just rock solid, knowing that, hey, you know what, if you want to lose weight, you got to go through a logical system that is consistent and is based off of research and facts, so that you can be able to overcome the obstacle at hand. Once you master that, you can come back and say, you know what, I'm going to add a little more, be a little more empathetic. Okay. I'm going to be a little more lax, because now I've met my goal. Now I can eat a little more pizza. Now I can eat more ice cream, and I can embed that into my diet because I have already overcame the obstacle. Let's go to the next.
Developing emotional intelligence through logical thinking to reach my goals by way of experiences helps me relate more with myself and the world around me.
The logic in a system that's going to get you from A to B to C is going to be able to allow you to experience it without the emotion. And when you experience it without the emotion and you get success and you see that it works, because it's a system that is built to just focus on results. When you build a system that's built off results, you just do it. You would basically plan so that you can execute logically, and then monitor and observe. And then once you monitor and observe, you're going to take that data and then you're going to put it back into a new plan. And then you're going to execute again. And then as you develop and master that, you keep going in the cycle, right? And I talk about this in the book. It's called Create Life, create your existence so that you can acknowledge it, so that you can be able to build and see your strengths and weaknesses. You take your weaknesses and develop strength, and you take your strength and you create balance. In doing that, you're also developing your knowledge, your understanding in your mind so you can gain wisdom to make sound judgment. And then you're also developing your body to create action and experience. And you're also developing the spiritual part of you, which is your belief system, so that you can commit for life. How do you get a belief system? When you know things work, when you actually see the result, you start to believe it and you commit to it. And this is how I developed myself. I developed myself saying, you know what? I need to build a relationship with myself that is built with honesty, transparency, so that I can create harmony. I need to be able to develop a relationship with myself that's so strong to where I can look in the mirror and I know when I'm falling short, so that I can be able to help continue develop myself, become my own coach, my own teacher, my own motivator, my own inspiration, my own awesome sauce. And then I marry myself. I put a ring on it. I love myself to the point because I know who I am. When you can love yourself that much, guess what? You can love everybody else just that much. Because when a person comes up to you, they cuss you out, sticking their middle finger at you because they cut you off. And you just be like, hey man, I love you, man. I'm good. I don't know what you're going through today, but look, hey, you know what? We can have a conversation. We could do lunch. I'm always willing to listen, to be an ear. Maybe once I listen, if I feel that I need to say a little something to kind of help you a little bit, and maybe you're there, maybe you won't be, but look, I did my part. I spoke my piece and I was at peace. This book helps create solution makers. I'm creating solution makers in the world. That is my goal. To be able to create solution makers where you can have a conversation with a person, not get defensive, to be unbiased, so that you can be able to listen and learn, so that you can be able to take something from that. And if you never even say anything to that person, you can take that data and say, wow, I've learned something from that. This is actually going to make me a better person. Let's go.
When I give just a little, a lot can happen. If I just learn a little bit more, the unexpected can happen when I least expect it.
This is powerful because if you just do a little bit, that little bit will change. Imagine going in a straight line around the earth. You're going to meet your same destination. There are other elements. There's mountains. There's all kind of stuff. Now you got to think about, I'm going in a straight line, but man, there's going to be obstacles. We could easily just say, go in a straight line and meet here. But once you start thinking about the logistics of it, you're going to have to go over mountains. You're going to need to prepare. You got to have the right gear. You're going to need something. Point being said, if you do go in a straight line and you do meet all those requirements and you can overcome those odds, then you're going to meet in the same place. What if you just turned 1 centimeter? How far off do you think you will be if you go 100 miles in that direction? 1 centimeter. That is a choice that makes all the difference. And matter of fact, even if it was a millimeter, no matter how large or small, eventually when you hit the threshold of miles and miles, at some point, it's going to be off. Okay? And we need to look at our choices that way. We need to look at the choices I make today do matter. And everybody I come in contact with, everything I say does matter to that person. How I do it, how they perceive it, the way they perceive me, all those things. Does it sound like a lot? Yeah, it does sound like a lot. When you start to dig into who you truly are and you build that confidence and you start to understand and become aware of a lot of what you've gone through and how you've overcome and created solutions for yourself, it's going to be so much easier to be able to talk to people and see the need. When I see somebody who's in pain and they're going through hard times, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to comfort them. I'm going to comfort them and I'm going to say, hey, look, I know right now you may not see it, but you're going through this for a reason. Everything I do in my life, no matter what it is, I take responsibility of it. My kids, the way they are, how they are, that means that I just fell short somewhere. And I need to look in the mirror again and say, okay, where am I falling short? And how do I fix it? If I can fix it. And if I can't fix it, who do I need to be able to help through that transition? Maybe give them a little more space so that they can experience some things and not handicap them. I want to understand how I can become the solution maker. I don't have to create solutions all the time for a person, but sometimes I need to create a solution for myself to make sure that I'm far enough back to give them enough room to be able to experience life so that they can be able to understand where I'm coming from. And they come back and say, you know what? Thank you, Dad, for your patience, because I was able to see what you're seeing now. And now we're on the same frequency and we can have that conversation. Let's go.
That little bit more can be my moment to receive or give, changing my heart and my mind, showing others around me the actions that empowers balance in my life.
So this is powerful because that little bit more that I was talking about can give you a situation where the unexpected happens. When you're developing yourself and you're growing yourself, there's going to be situations where people will show up. Things will happen on purpose because you may have not have intended it, but things will show up unexpectedly. And sometimes you're in a moment where somebody's ready to give you something so you can receive it. And I know a lot of times, sometimes people want to give us stuff and we're trying to be humble and we're like, no, I don't need it. But you know what? When somebody's gifting you something, respect that and say, you know what? Okay, great. When we are ready to receive, take it. When somebody is ready to give, take it. Because it is an opportunity to teach you something. Now, it depends on what they're giving. We just have to make wise choices and understand that, you know what, hey, hopefully we have enough knowledge and understanding of whatever it is so that we can receive it. Like, for example, like it's a job and you know you need a job. It's probably not the perfect job, but it's a job that will get you to the next level. There's a logical aspect in there that you have to think about. And sometimes you just got to move your emotions aside. So you have to learn that, okay, you know what? I need to move my emotions aside. My kids need to eat right now. I need a job. So let me jump into this. It's not what I want, but you know what? It's something I need. And then that logic kicks in and say, you know what? The logic is good. The emotional part, not so much, because I feel like I don't need it because it's not something I want to do, but it's something I need to do. The beauty about that is that there's unexpected things that happen, but then there's also that side where somebody shows up and you're able to give to them, whether it be an experience, a story, and then they listen to you and they say, man, that was awesome. I needed that. You become a mentor, a coach, a teacher. And then at the same time, you can receive something from somebody and then you become the student. We need to be open and aware of those two different things. Knowing that we made a choice to develop who we are so that we can be able to make a change, so that we can do a little bit more and learn a little bit more and educate ourselves a little bit more. That little bit more of knowledge and understanding will allow us to make better choices and decisions based off of everything we do in life. And don't let fear run your life. If you do something, if you never owned a home and you want to buy a home, well, go through that experience. Go through the experience of meeting with someone that can help you look at a home, help educate you through that process. And if that person's not educating you and helping you through that process, then go find somebody who will. And there's a logical system built on that platform as well. And you take that logical system and you say, okay, what is something that's going to create success from A to B? If I want a house, I know I need to find somebody who's going to work with me, help develop me and educate me on what I need to know, because this process, I need to know everything about it so I can make a sound decision about it. The inspection comes back and it doesn't have XYZ. I know that, okay, do I want to be able to tackle XYZ? Do I have the money to do that? And if not, then I need to find something that's going to allow me to be able to get into it and not have to do this much. I can only do that much. And that's where the plan comes in. You execute, you monitor and observe. Once you do that, that experience will allow you to plan again so that you can continue to build what it is you're looking for. That's that logical process.
I declare that I deserve the best in life because I can create my purpose by seeking the truth in all things, to improve myself, to affect everything else around me.
Declarations that we give ourselves. That was a powerful declaration. And we need to continue to declare who we are. Look in the mirror and say, I declare that I will find out who I am as a person so that I can develop myself. And in developing myself, I will see the things that are known and unknown so that I can be able to overcome any obstacle, any condition, anything that is holding me back and limiting me from exposing who I truly am. You hear that? That is a powerful declaration that covers specific things so that you can be able to cover everything that you need in your life to be able to expand who you are so that you can share that love and seek the truth in all things. So always know that you are in control of that existence. You create it. Create that existence so that you can be able to acknowledge it, accept it, reject it, right? Whichever one. And then once you do that, then you understand the strengths and the weaknesses of it. Take those weaknesses so you can create strengths, and then take those strengths so you don't go to arrogance or anything like that, but you take those strengths and you create balance so that people will see you, perceive you, and understand that, man, this is a guy, this is a chain in my link that I need in my life. Okay? And speaking about the chain, we are all connected, whether we know it or not. Everything we say, we do, how we do it, what choices we make, people see it, they feel it, they understand it, it affects them. It even affects what people's choices are being made. Think about it. Kids are making choices. What do their parents have to do if they make a bad choice? The parents have to get off work. They have to take time off. They have to help develop them, straighten them out. So if we can hit the nail in the head, start developing early on and create a logical system that makes sense to develop character, people, put it into a system to where we are starting to become more intelligent, wise about our choices, helping develop a system where people understand how to respect each other. They understand how to communicate. They don't get defensive. And if they do, they know how to self-reflect and say, okay, what is it? They become curious about themselves. They understand that curiosity asks those questions, those difficult questions. Why am I defensive? Why am I upset? And then explain that. And then that's how you're going to get to the source, the condition that's driving that. Whether it be you being late on your bills, your rent, your car note. It may just mean that, you know what, maybe I just got too much stuff, or maybe I just need to get a better job. How do I do that? Start asking those questions and then declare, I can get a better job so that I can pay all my bills and be able to overcome all the things that are affecting me in my life. I need to remove the things that are not aligned with me so I can better prepare and create balance in my life. How do I create balance in my life? I need to remove these credit cards. I need to stop spending. I need to be able to save. I need to start investing into my own self. Those are the things you need to start declaring. Put it into you. We can't do that if we're not being educated how to. So this is why I'm here. This is why this channel's here. This is why I created that book. Create a lifestyle with character. A lifestyle with character. Let's go.
I will be the best by gaining knowledge to understand how that wisdom can allow me to make sound judgments in every choice I make.
I talked about that earlier. Knowledge, gain knowledge so that you can get the understanding and comprehend that situation so that you can be able to experience it, so that you gain that wisdom, so that you can be able to make sound judgments off of that experience. And there it is. So there's my book. Pick it up, link in description. All right. Thank you for watching another episode. And I know there is some great information in here for someone or somebody. And look, everything has its time and its moment. Okay. And this will hit people in a good way. Sometimes it'll hit people in ways to where, oh, you know what, I already know it. That's totally fine. But the great thing is that this is out there, and I want to be able to help people, right, achieve their ultimate self. So continue to watch, subscribe, support by buying that book so that I can be able to do more and be able to pour into this channel in a way to where it can reach everyone. And as I go through this, guess what? I am also being developed to become a better content creator, a better person. When people comment in the bottom, I'm going to respond, and we're going to be able to have a conversation to create a community to where people are starting to expose the things that they really want to focus on. And then that way we can be able to develop and create this channel into something amazing, because people are going to start getting answers. And when they get answers, guess what? They're going to start believing in this channel. Allow me to be able to do that so that I can be able to help you by doing a lot of the things that other people are not doing. That is empowering, inspiring, always telling you that you can, by declarations, by self-reflecting, that you can be your own coach, that you can be your own motivation, and you will come to this channel just to be inspired and to hear the things that I've grown to and learned from, so that we all can be able to achieve our true goal in life. And that is to be able to create a lifestyle with honesty, transparency, to create harmony. Okay? So look, let's create life so that we can expand our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. And when I talk about spirit, I'm talking about the spirit of belief and commitment by creating a logical system that you can be able to achieve success with every time. Okay? And then from that, you're going to be able to share that love with everyone so that you can seek the truth in all things. Thank you for hanging out with me with this episode of Peace and Neutrality. My name is Arvelle L. All the best to you and yours. Much love.